everybody, this is Ian Griffin with Nyle Dry Kilns, and today we're at the shop in Brewer, Maine, and we're going to do a little unboxing of this ready to ship L200 Pro 20-foot container. So let's crack her open and see what we got. So this is how it should ship to your facility. If you order one of these, it should show up on the truck, basically configured as this one is. So we'll pop it open. Alrighty. So first things first, you're going to see some of the 2x6s and everything on the side. This is literally just a brace to keep your baffle from flopping around during shipping. Same thing with your carts at the bottom there. Those are just kind of bolted down to keep everything from moving around and be held in place while it's on the truck. So we'll kind of go through things one by one here. We get a lot of questions about how much room you have for stacking lumber and where exactly, the limit is, how close you can get to the wall, how your sensors should be set up, where they should be. So we're going to try and tackle a few of those things right now. So we'll kind of work from the right over. First things first, you got your wet bulb reservoir over here. So these kilns ship with an electronic sensor and 2 sets of RTDs for a dry bulb and a wet bulb. So your fans up here are going to circulate your air around this way. So you're typically controlling your entering air temperature. So I don't know if you can see it because of the way we have the baffle set up, but your dry bulb RTD and your electronic sensor are up near the roof over here. Somewhere around there. And basically your heater will warm up the air, it'll hit those sensors, and when you're at your set point, it's going to tell your heater to turn off and kind of maintain that temperature throughout. Your wet bulb over here is going to be reading off the exiting side where most of the moisture is going to be. And your wick, your little shoestring wick, will connect to your reservoir up to your sensor right here. Your wet bulb is really just your temperature sensor minus the cooling effects of evaporation. So anyone that's using a traditional dry bulb and wet bulb setup, that's the big difference. Your dry bulb is just a temperature reading. Your wet bulb is your temperature reading minus evaporation. So that's why this wick placement is so important. If you ever have your wick drying out, make sure your reservoir is topped off. You can always move the sensor a little bit closer so it doesn't have to wick up as far. That can help a lot if you're drying, if the conditions in your kiln are really dry. We've seen that potentially be an issue as well. Over here, this is your drain tube for your compressor. It's just hanging on the hook. When it shows up, there's a little plug on the other side. You'll put that on and then you'll plug your drain wherever you want to go. Outside on the ground, in a holding tank, in a reservoir. It kind of depends on your facility. Over there is your powered exhaust vent. Over here is your passive intake vent. So it has a little shield on it, and that prevents it from, sometimes the pressure from the fans can prevent that passive vent from opening. The little shield kind of protects it from the direct airflow of the fans and allows the air to seep back in when the powered vent turns on. So that's your venting system, your sensors. This right here is your compressor. So in here, you have the actual compressor with your evaporation coils and your condensers, all that kind of stuff, as well as your heater. So the way this works is it pulls in the humid air coming off the lumber, runs it over a refrigeration coil, condenses that moisture, and drains it out the tube wherever you want it to go. And then the recycled heat is pumped back up into the kiln for that kind of energy efficiency. So you only have to use the electric heater, ideally when you're initially getting up to temperature. We got our fans right here. I kind of talked about in the beginning how they're gonna circulate your airflow. And one of the things that's really important, and we get a lot of questions about this, how close can you stack your lumber to the wall? So the rule of thumb is that you generally want close to 1/4 of the height of your stack in space. So if your stack is 4 feet high, you'd want close to a foot to this wall because you want to be able to pressurize and let the air flow down evenly. The narrower it gets, the harder it's going to be to pressurize this, and the more likely you're going to have different air speeds from top to bottom of the pack. Hopefully that makes sense. On the other side, you can be a little bit closer to the dehumidification unit, probably around 5 to 6 inches. You could start going a little bit closer, but then you may have a harder time getting the airflow from the sides sucked into the unit as well. So I generally say if you're pack's about 4 feet tall. Try to get close to a foot. If you're 10 or 11 inches, you're going to be okay. But once you start getting below probably about 9 or 8, you really may start noticing inconsistencies in your airflow. And then on the other side, probably no more than 5 to 6 inches, no smaller than 5 to 6 inches gap between the lumber and the compressor. And I think that's kind of about it. Oh, you know, I forgot one other thing. When it ships, the spare rails for your rail system come just held down by the carts and everything. Whatever design you build, whether it's wood or metal, for these rails to sit on, they'll kind of line up, and then you can just roll your carts in and out, and it should be easy peasy. On the far side of the container from the loading door, you have your controller. It looks a little high right now. That's because the container is sitting on wheels. It would probably be around my neck height if it's sitting on the ground. You'll have this little screen cover to keep weather out, and this is going to be your touch screen operation, which there's no power to it right now, so I can't showcase this, but I believe we have a controls demo we can link at some point as well. So hopefully that's everything. You guys got any questions, you can feel free to give us a call at 800-777-6953 or check out our website at NyleDryKilns.com.